Welcome back to ABC General Hospital Spoilers channel. Today, we're diving deep into the latest drama unfolding in Port Charles as secrets, betrayals, and life-threatening dangers take center stage on Thursday, May 1st. Get ready for an in-depth exploration of the tangled web of relationships, shocking revelations, and risky decisions that promise to keep fans on the edge of their seats. From Carly's urgent update on Sonny's near-fatal encounter to Willow's heartbreaking discovery, and even Trina's emotional turmoil over a loved one's surgery, there's no shortage of suspense in this beloved soap opera. Let's unpack every thrilling detail with fresh perspectives, imaginative expansions, and gripping insights into the lives of our favorite characters. Carly's alarming news about Sonny's close call. In the wake of her dramatic journey to Los Angeles, Carly Spencer returns to Port Charles with a story so chilling it could freeze the blood in anyone's veins. She sits down with her trusted confidant, Jason Morgan, to recount the terrifying moment when Sonny Corinthos, the formidable mob boss, nearly met his end. Had Brick not stormed in at the very last second, gunfire would have silenced Sonny forever on the bustling streets of L.A. Carly, her voice trembling with a mix of relief and fear, paints a vivid picture of the chaos, bullets slicing through the night air, shouts echoing off the concrete, and Sonny's life hanging by the thinnest of threads. She reveals to Jason a theory proposed by Jack Brennan, a man whose keen instincts often uncover hidden truths. Brennan speculates that the shadowy figure behind these ruthless attacks might be the notorious Jen Sidwell, a name that sends shivers down the spine of anyone familiar with underworld dealings, or perhaps an even more elusive enemy with a personal vendetta against Sonny. Together, Carly and Jason brainstorm ways to tighten security around Sonny, discussing potential safe houses and trusted allies who could stand guard. Carly's determination burns bright as she vows to see the perpetrator brought to justice, not just for Sonny's sake, but to protect her entire family from the crosshairs of this unseen threat. Will they uncover the mastermind before another strike proves fatal? The stakes have never been higher in this deadly game of cat and mouse. Portia and Nina's risky scheme unravels. Meanwhile, at the heart of another storm, Portia Robinson strides confidently into a meeting with Nina Reeves, her eyes gleaming with the triumph of a plan executed with precision. She declares that hiring Jacinda, a cunning and charismatic femme fatale, was nothing short of a stroke of brilliance. Their ploy to sabotage Drew Kane's reputation took a scandalous turn at the Savoy, where Drew, caught in a haze of poor judgment, was filmed indulging in body shots off Jacinda under the club's pulsating lights. Portia chuckles as she replays the footage for Nina, predicting that this humiliating spectacle will be the talk of Port Charles for weeks, effectively tarnishing Drew's image and fracturing his connections. However, beneath Nina's smirk lies a storm of conflicting emotions. While a part of her revels in the wedge driven between Drew and Willow, another part wrestles with the bitter taste of guilt, especially as she imagines the pain her actions will inflict on Willow, a young woman already burdened by life's hardships. Portia, ever the pragmatic strategist, leans in to reassure Nina that Drew's arrogance left them with no alternative but to strike back. Still, Nina's heart aches as she ponders the collateral damage of their vengeance. Will this scheme backfire, costing Nina more than she bargained for in her quest for retribution? Willow's heartbreaking return. Speaking of Willow Tate, her return from a soul-searching trip to Germany should have been a moment of renewal, a chance to embrace her loved ones with open arms. Instead, she steps into a nightmare that shatters her world. As she crosses the threshold of her home, the air thick with an eerie stillness, Willow stumbles upon a scene orchestrated for maximum devastation. Drew, disheveled and disoriented, entangled in a compromising embrace with Jacinda. The sight is a dagger to her heart, each detail searing itself into her memory: the mussed sheets, the faint scent of alcohol, and Jacinda's smug, triumphant sneer. Unbeknownst to Willow, Drew's clouded recollection of the night stems from a sinister twist. He was slipped ketamine, rendering him a pawn in Nina's cruel game. Willow's initial reaction is a torrential mix of betrayal and rage, her voice cracking as she demands answers that Drew, in his dazed state, cannot provide. Yet, as the fog in Drew's mind begins to lift over the coming hours, a nagging suspicion takes root. Could he have been drugged and framed in this elaborate setup? The road to uncovering the truth will be fraught with emotional debris, testing Willow's resilience and Drew's determination to reclaim his integrity. Can their bond survive this brutal blow, or has Nina's manipulation irreparably shattered their trust? Curtis updates Laura on Drew's downfall. Across town, Curtis Ashford meets with Laura Collins to deliver a report that could shift the political and social landscape of Port Charles. With a grave expression, Curtis recounts the scandalous events at the Savoy, detailing how Drew's reckless behavior captured for all to see has painted him in a damning light. The viral footage of Drew's antics isn't just a personal embarrassment, it's a public relations disaster that could ripple through his alliances, weakening his standing and that of those who support him. Curtis suggests to Laura that this fiasco might inadvertently solve one of her ongoing dilemmas, as Drew's tarnished reputation could neutralize opposition to her initiatives. He describes the electric atmosphere at the Savoy that night, the crowd's gasps and whispers as Drew stumbled through his inebriated display, and how whispers of his indiscretion are already spreading like wildfire through the hospital corridors and local diners. Laura listens intently, weighing the ethical implications of capitalizing on Drew's misstep versus the potential benefits for her own agenda. Will she seize this opportunity, or will her conscience steer her toward a more compassionate response to Drew's plight? Lulu's intriguing interview with Alexis. In a quieter corner of Port Charles, Lulu Spencer seizes a chance to delve into the complex past of Alexis Davis through a deeply personal interview. As they sit down over steaming cups of coffee at a cozy cafe, Lulu's journalistic curiosity shines as she probes Alexis about her journey of reconnection with Sam McCall, a bond forged later in life amid layers of misunderstanding and missed opportunities. Alexis opens up about the bittersweet joy of rebuilding that mother-daughter relationship, sharing poignant anecdotes of late-night conversations and small, tentative steps toward trust. The discussion takes a darker turn as they touch on the heavy burden of the Cassadine family legacy, a name synonymous with power, madness, and intrigue. Alexis recounts chilling tales of her ancestors' machinations, from sinister plots on distant islands to whispered curses that seem to haunt every generation. Lulu scribbles notes furiously, sensing a story that could captivate her readers while offering Alexis a cathartic release from the shadows of her heritage. Could this interview mark a turning point for Alexis, helping her reconcile with her past, or will it unearth buried demons best left undisturbed? Trina's emotional dilemma over Kai's surgery. Finally, at General Hospital itself, Trina Robinson grapples with a heavy heart as she stands by Kai Taylor, a young man facing a perilous surgical procedure with life-altering stakes. In the sterile, fluorescent-lit hallway outside the operating room, Trina's concern is palpable as she gently reminds Kai that he holds the power to halt this operation at any moment. She recalls Kai's infectious passion for football, the way his eyes lit up when describing a perfect spiral pass on a crisp autumn field, and the devastating injury that threatens to steal the dream forever. Kai, however, exudes a quiet resolve, his jaw set as he confesses his unwavering hope that this risky surgery will restore his ability to play the sport he loves. Trina fights back tears, torn between supporting his bravery and fearing the worst-case scenario, a failed operation or complications that could rob him of more than just football. She envisions the potential outcomes, from triumphant recovery celebrations to somber hospital vigils, each scenario playing out in her mind as she clutches Kai's hand for reassurance. Will Kai's gamble pay off with a return to the gridiron, or will Trina's worst fears come to pass in the operating theater? As the drama of Thursday, May 1st, unfolds, Port Charles remains a crucible of raw emotion, hidden agendas, and impossible choices. From Sonny's brush with death to Willow's shattered illusions, and Kai's fight for his future, every storyline pulses with the heartbeat of human struggle and resilience. Next, we're delving into a whirlwind of deception, blackmail, and family tensions that are set to ignite Port Charles with explosive drama. In this expanded exploration, we'll uncover the dark secrets surrounding Christina Corinthos Davis's dangerous actions, Ava Jerome's ruthless schemes, and the fragile loyalties that threaten to shatter relationships beyond repair. From hidden videos to whispered deals, and the heartbreaking choices Alexis Davis must face, every moment is charged with suspense. Join us as we dive into the intricate web of lies, invented twists, and emotional stakes that define this gripping storyline, ensuring you're fully immersed in the chaos that awaits our beloved characters. Ava's ruthless blackmail trap. In a dimly lit corner of Port Charles, Ava Jerome clutches a piece of evidence so damning it could unravel lives in an instant. A video capturing Christina Corinthos Davis tampering with the brakes of Rick Lansing's car, mistakenly believing it belonged to Ava herself. With a calculating glint in her eye, Ava wastes no time confronting Alexis Davis, Christina's fiercely protective mother, in a clandestine meeting at a shadowy cafe on the outskirts of town. Her ultimatum is chillingly clear. Alexis must siphon a substantial sum from the infamous Cassadine family fortune and discreetly hand over a massive payout, or Ava will deliver the incriminating footage straight to the police. She leans in, her voice a venomous whisper, reminding Alexis of the near-fatal consequences. Rick and Elizabeth Baldwin narrowly escaped death because of Christina's reckless sabotage. Ava paints vivid images of flashing sirens and cold jail cells, ensuring Alexis feels the weight of the threat. As whispers of Ava's past schemes echo in the air, one wonders if she's bluffing or truly prepared to destroy a family for profit. Will Alexis find a way to outmaneuver Ava's cruel game, or is this the beginning of an irreversible downfall for the Davis clan? Alexis's torturous decision. Caught in a moral maelstrom, Alexis Davis stands at a crossroads that could define her daughter's future and her own. In the quiet of her office, surrounded by legal tomes and faded family photos, she wrestles with the idea of doing what's truly best for Christina, whose erratic behavior has spiraled into dangerous territory. For a fleeting moment, Alexis imagines a path of tough love, committing Christina to a mental health facility where she could receive intensive care, away from the chaos of Port Charles. Her longtime friend and legal confidant, Diane Miller, sits across from her, sipping coffee and offering gentle but firm counsel. Diane recounts stories of others who found healing through such interventions, urging Alexis to prioritize Christina's long-term well-being over temporary pain. Yet, as the weight of Ava's blackmail looms like a storm cloud, Alexis falters. The thought of her daughter locked away, combined with the threat of public exposure, proves too much. With a heavy sigh, she capitulates to Ava's demands, agreeing to secure the funds in secret. But as she signs away her integrity, a flicker of defiance remains. Will Alexis regret this choice, or is she merely buying time to protect her family from a greater storm? Rick's complicity and hidden resentments. Adding fuel to this already blazing fire, Rick Lansing emerges as a willing accomplice in Ava's sinister plot. Recovering in the sterile confines of General Hospital, his body still aching from the near-fatal crash orchestrated by Christina, Rick harbors no illusions about her intentions. He meets with Ava in a hushed corner of the hospital cafeteria, his expression a mask of cold pragmatism as he agrees to keep silent about Christina's crime provided he receives a generous slice of the financial pie extracted from Alexis. Rick's disdain for Christina runs deep. He views her as a reckless product of Alexis's tumultuous history with Sonny Corinthos, a man Rick loathes with every fiber of his being. In his mind, Christina embodies chaos, selfish, impulsive, and unworthy of the constant protection she receives. He recalls bitter memories of past clashes, each fueling his desire to see her face consequences. However, there's a catch to his silence. Rick must withhold the truth from his own daughter, Molly Lansing Davis, a decision that gnaws at him despite his hardened exterior. Will Rick's thirst for retribution outweigh his loyalty to Ava's scheme, or will greed keep him bound to this dangerous pact? Molly caught in a web of lies. As the web of deception tightens, Molly Lansing Davis remains an unwitting pawn in a game of secrets and lies. While visiting her father Rick during his recovery, their conversation dances around trivial matters: hospital food and physical therapy schedules. Yet beneath the surface, Rick battles an internal storm. He longs to reveal the shocking truth about Christina's role in his accident, to expose the sister Molly has always tried to understand despite their differences. Rick imagines the scene. Molly's eyes widening in horror as he describes the cut brake lines, the screech of tires, and the terror of that fateful drive. But Ava's ironclad agreement forces his silence, a bitter pill sweetened only by the promise of financial gain. Meanwhile, Alexis, too, must perpetuate the charade, concealing both Christina's actions and Ava's extortion from both her daughters. Spoilers tease a forthcoming moment of raw honesty between Alexis and Christina, where the plan for potential institutionalization might be laid bare under the weight of guilt. Yet Molly, kept in the dark by all parties, would likely forgive Rick for shielding her from the accidents caused by Ava's manipulation of her mother? That betrayal could ignite a fury in Molly unlike any other. How long can this fragile facade hold before Molly stumbles upon the devastating truth? Rick's temptation to betray Ava. The tension escalates as Rick grapples with a burning temptation to shatter the silence and betray Ava's trust. In a late-night confession to Alexis under the flickering lights of a deserted hospital hallway, he admits how close he's come to spilling everything to Molly. He paces, voice low, as he argues that Molly deserves to know the depths of Christina's instability, a sister who nearly cost him his life without a shred of remorse. Rick's resentment toward Alexis's unwavering defense of Christina bubbles to the surface. He accuses her of coddling her troubled daughter, allowing her to evade accountability time and again. In his mind, justice demands that Christina face charges for attempted murder, a punishment he believes would finally force her to confront her actions. Yet, complicating his resolve is his tangled relationship with Ava. Their shared history and fiery chemistry pull him in conflicting directions. He relishes their late-night rendezvous, even as his heart lingers on Elizabeth Baldwin, a connection reignited during a recent emotional encounter as they left Ava's apartment together. If Rick exposes the blackmail, Ava's newfound wealth would vanish in an instant, stripping her of the power and allure that make her so captivating. A broke Ava, he muses, lacks the dangerous charm that draws him in. Will Rick choose loyalty to his daughter over his entanglement with Ava, or will desire and money silence his conscience once more? The fragile balance of power. As this intricate drama unfolds, the balance of power in Port Charles hangs by a thread, with each player poised to either tighten their grip or lose everything. Ava's scheme, while seemingly foolproof, rests on the unsteady loyalties of Rick, whose personal grudges and unresolved feelings could topple her empire of extortion. Alexis, torn between maternal instinct and moral compromise, walks a tightrope that could snap under the weight of her secrets. Christina, oblivious to the full extent of the storm she's unleashed, remains a volatile wildcard. Her next impulsive act could either save or doom her family. And Molly, the innocent caught in the crossfire, stands to lose the most if the truth explodes without warning. Spoilers hint at looming confrontations and unexpected alliances that might shift the tide, perhaps revealing hidden allies willing to challenge Ava's dominance or buried evidence that could exonerate or further condemn Christina. One thing is certain, the quiet streets of Port Charles are a ticking time bomb, waiting for the spark that will ignite a reckoning no one can escape. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the latest ABC General Hospital saga. The labyrinth of blackmail, betrayal, and buried truths promises to keep us riveted as loyalties are tested and hearts are broken. Stay tuned for the next explosive episode, and keep speculating about who will crack under the pressure first. Until then, we'll see you back here for more spoilers, updates, and dramatic twists from the heart of Port Charles.